Good evening. Last week on the show, we were in Buginyanya.
My dad was a farmer. What we are doing here, we used to do at home.
Join us on today's episode of NTV Seeds of Gold as we follow Oliver to the Seeds of Gold Farm Clinic, where she's been invited to spotlight her impressive coffee value chain.
So this is the coffee now graded, ready for consumption.
Biochar is a very useful soil amendment product.
Did you know that coffee has a story to tell? Well, join Oliver as she guides us through the interesting journey of coffee, from its origins in the garden to its final destination in the market.
But you know, with coffee, coffee talks.
It does.
When you handle it badly, it will show that Oliver mess up. You see, they constructed for me. There's heat. There's the parchment.
And how long does this take?
1 week only. Coffee is done. This will help.
Yeah.
They just constructed of reset.
How long have you had it?
It is going to work for me this season.
Yeah.
It is now like 1 month old.
That's amazing. Do not miss this opportunity to deepen your agricultural knowledge and be more inspired by Oliver's journey.
For the quality, we pick on the red, not the green. Then, when you pulp it, it ferments for 2 days. After fermenting for 2 days, you wash. When you wash, you dry to the parchment, like as this one. This is the parchment now. This is the parchment, is dry parchment. Then after this, you take to the machine for herring to remove this cover. To remove this cover, then we call it the green bean. It is now a green bean ready for export or for roasting. If you are exporting, it is now ready. You mill, you grade, then you sell. Then after this, you can again proceed and take to another machine for roasting. For roasting. This is now roasted coffee. We roast medium roast. We don't want the dark one. For us, we want the medium. Then after this, we take to the machine. I cover, I put on the socket. Then only 3 minutes, it is already powder, like this. It is already powder like this. Only 3 minutes. This is now the powder after grinding. So it is now ready for consumption. It is a very small machine. It grinds a half a kilo every time, half a kilo. And you have to wait for some 15 minutes after grinding, then you put another one. When you put continuously, it can break. When the coffee is good, you just see. When you put hot water, it looks like as if you have put milk. Yet not. Coffee itself has milk. If you maintain it, it has milk, has some sugar. I do from the nursery. This is the nursery. From the nursery, because the quality starts from the garden. You have to get a good seed from a good nursery at the right time. You plant, you manage it well, then you are able to get this. But if you mess up, then things will go wrong. Because coffee, as I said earlier, coffee talks. When you pick the green beans, the green beans, it is sour. Then it's automatically, coffee will not be good. If you want good, you have to follow as I've done.
But Oliver's expertise does not stop there. She's also a master at maximizing the potential of bananas. With her deep knowledge and innovative approach, Oliver ensures that nothing goes to waste. Watch as she skillfully demonstrates how to unlock the full value of these everyday crops.
Me, I do the intercropping. And I saw in my garden, I do intercropping. So I add the value also to everything which is there. I have matoke for eating, I have bogoya, but I also add the value to it. Like these pans now, you see?
Don't put sugar.
This pans is from my cassava. You saw the cassava in the garden. This cassava and that bogoya. So I've added the value. It is now pans. So there's nothing wasted. This is now matoke. People buy, This one can cost 30,000, you know. At the end of the day, I'm not blocked. I get something. As I said, I add the value. I have the bogoyas here. People want this, they also buy. The one which are overripe or which are remaining, I also add the value. Plus my cassava, and I get money.
We are also diving into the world of rice farming, where a few forward-thinking farmers are transforming rice residue into valuable products. Bongomin, over to you.
Rice produces a lot of residue. Bongomin Group, together with Kilimo Trust and R4 ICS project, we are promoting the recycling of rice waste. So from rice husk, we carbonize it in low supply of oxygen using this. This is a carbonizer to produce a biochar. A biochar is a charcoal-like looking things like this. From this, we can fortify it to make a complete organic manure, which is this. This is a fortified biochar, this is a plain biochar, and this is a fortified one. So from combination of this, we can use it in the raising of the coffee seedlings, which is this. So let me explain why biochar. Biochar is a very useful soil amendment product. Soil amendment means we are making the soil suitable for the growth of crops. Crops can be coffee, crop can be bananas, crop can be vegetables. So how does it make it suitable? Biochar buffer the soil pH. Buffering the soil pH means if the soil is organic, if the soil is alkaline, it brings it into what? Buffering it towards acidity. If your soil is acidic, the buffer is taking it toward neutral. So secondly, it buffer the soil temperature, improve the soil temperature. Thirdly, it enables the soil it enhances microbial activities into the soil. Thirdly, it prevents nutrient leaching from the soil. Fourthly, it is a carbon sequester enabler. Carbon sequester enabler means that it enables the soil to store as much carbon from the atmosphere into the soil, making the process a complete climate smart. This is a nutshell the use of biochar. We have used biochar for many years. In coffee, we have used it for seedling, for the grown up, for the planting. So when you are planting, we use it at a ratio of 1 to 1 to 1. 1 to 1 to 1 means that if biochar is 1 wheelbarrow, you bring 1 wheelbarrow of topsoil, bring 1 wheelbarrow of manure, and you mix together, and then you plant your coffee. The same, if you are going to use it for top dressing coffee, you use it 5 kilograms per tree. So 5 kilograms per tree, and you apply it at rain. That is in a nutshell what we are demonstrating on biochar.
This should be a real eye-opener for others in the industry who may have overlooked the potential in what they consider waste. The possibilities are endless. Imagine turning rice husks into rich organic manure that not only nourishes the soil but also contributes to the sustainable farming practices. We will go for a very short commercial break, and when we return, there is so much more to value addition from rice straws. Also, get to learn about soil science. So keep those comments coming in, hashtag NTV Seeds of Gold. Wow, what an incredible innovation. There is so much to uncover here. We are joined by Diana Nakubulua, who dives deep into the fascinating world of climate-smart agriculture, all through the lens of something that most farmers have overlooked, rice straw. Diana takes us through the entire process, revealing how this one ignored resource is now revolutionizing farming practices.
Residues from rice are quite a menace. Quite a number of farmers misuse it, it will be burnt, destroys the environment and so on. So this particular project, we're trying to reuse and recycle the rice residue. My colleague has already talked about the rice husk, so I'll concentrate on the rice straw that we get from the rice. Besides, we mix the rice straw with manure, but in partnership with VermiPro, we have what we call the compost accelerator. we like to promote something that farmers can adopt. This rice straw has to be chopped into so many pieces, more like what we feed the animal. So that is quite tedious for a farmer. So once we mix this, we can apply this compost accelerator, and it will accelerate the decomposition process. Once this is decomposed, it takes a period of about 2 weeks. We introduce worms. I could show you an example of the worms. Then why these worms? A farmer may say, I may just mix my manure and the straw. It's a ratio of 1:1. But these worms add something very interesting. They will feed on the compost. Right now we have a small sample, but imagine it's a huge box with so many worms. They feed on this. So what they produce out, we would call it the fecal, is this product now, the vermicast. This process takes also about 2 weeks, and we shall have our vermicast. Why vermicast? Vermicast is very rich and fertilizer. It's very alkaline. Once we add it to our acidic soil, it will neutralize it, and our crops will be able to grow. So that happens because of the gut digestion of the worms. So this is a very profound product we'd like the farmers to take on. And besides that, we have a product called vermijuice. Each time we water to keep our worms safe and alive, that water that comes out, that drips out, is the vermijuice. This one is diluted. It can act as a pesticide. It's a very good fertilizer for vegetables, especially cabbages. All those vegetables, talk about them. Spray them with vermijuice, you'll have the best. It can also act as a pesticide.
Too often, farmers overlook the crucial role that soil plays in their success. Many aren't even aware that soil has its own needs that, when met, can lead to higher yields. In this segment, we meet Joseph, a soil scientist dedicated to enhancing soil quality and tackling the challenges that hinder its productivity.
In Uganda, soil is a very critical resource that we have, which we need to manage. So as a soil scientist, we are partnering with these organizations to make sure that we improve our soils. And that's why we are producing various products to address the needs of the farmer. And you know, just as the same way you go and test yourself to find out whether malaria is there or not, the same thing should apply to soils. You need to go and test to find out what is lacking and what challenges are in the soil for us to move forward to do agriculture in a better way. So there are soil laboratories in Naro Institute, Kawanda, Makerere, and also in Buginyanya, where you can visit and your soil is taken and tested. And after testing, we can now give a recommendation on these other products that we are making. And when we are giving a recommendation about these products, we have to know that we need to consider the issue about fertilizers as well, what the crop needs. So, because it is not a matter of each crop, it is not a matter of applying these nutrients, but each crop eats differently. Bananas eat differently from coffee, from potatoes, from maize. So as a soil scientist, we try to align a particular need for a crop. Soil may be the same pH in different places or different, but the crop, what it feeds on, is quite different. That's why we're getting different products and applying the soil to improve on, depending on the problem. So these are critical problems that farmers face. When you look at the market, there are many fertilizers, but a farmer does not have the knowledge that how much of this will this particular crop need. That's why we come in, test, and give advice to our farmers so that they improve on yields. So that's what we do. And in various institutes, I encourage farmers to be able to visit our institutes, narrow institutes, where they can be helped as well, or our partners, to address the challenge of soil. It is actually a hidden challenge that many people have not yet known, but there are issues about soil. So we need to address these issues for the benefit of our farmers.
farming, it's very, very important to get insight from the experts. And today, in our Farming Opportunities segment, we bring you the expert of the experts. Brought to you by Bukola Chemical Industries. Take it away, Solomon.
Thank you, Sheila. Indeed, the science of the soil is extremely important, and for our farmers to get the most out of it, they need to understand how the different components relate and work together to give us the best. For our understanding, we're going to look at the three major aspects or components of the soil, and that is our soil physics, soil biology, and soil chemistry. When we talk soil physics, we are talking about the physical aspects of the soil. We are talking about the soil structure, we are talking about the soil color, we are talking about the different aspects of the soil that put it together in a way that enables it to hold and raise our crop. And when we talk about soil biology, we would be referring to the living organisms in the soil, including the plant roots. So soil biology includes the fungi, the bacteria, and the different other organisms, including some arthropods and other insects. These help in the nutrient cycling, and they're extremely important to our soil. And when we talk about soil chemistry, then we would be referring to aspects like the soil pH, that's the amount of acid or the acidity or alkalinity of the soil. We'll be talking about soil cation exchange capacity and the different aspects that relate to chemistry. So all those the three components are extremely important, and the farmer must understand how to influence each of them to work together to give them the best, to be able to support the crops, to access the nutrients, to access water, and to be anchored strongly in the soil for them to survive. And also for sustainability, to be able to keep the soil together, for it to be usable for a longer period of time. We'll start with the soil physics. To influence soil structure, some of the most important aspects are, for example, soil organic matter, what people would naturally refer to as manure, or aspects that we put in the soil and they rot and we recover nutrients from them. So when we want to make sure that our soil has good structure, physically we can do that by minimizing the amount of tillage or the level of tillage, the extent of tillage that we make on that soil, such that we don't continuously break down the soil clods or the soil particles. Two, when we include soil organic matter, we are able to ensure that the different soil particles adhere together and form a structure that can be able to help the soil to keep together, improve its aeration, and increase the extent to which it holds the water, which we call soil water holding capacity. So all that is possible, especially if we use things like biochar. Biochar is a substance that is produced as a result of burning organic matter in an environment limited with oxygen. So that way we are able to maintain carbon and produce a char. Of course, if you relate it further, charcoal burning. So the char, as a result of burning organic matter in a controlled environment with limited oxygen, helps us to produce biochar. So this biochar has organic matter, and for specific biochars like sick bamboo biochar, which comes from bamboo, contains other substances that help further make the soil even better. For example, the biochar, the sick bamboo biochar, comes with microorganisms, which are very important aspect or component of soil that again influences what we call the soil biology. And when we talk about soil biology, I mentioned that we are talking about the living aspects in the soil, the living organisms, including the plant roots and other microorganisms. These microorganisms help to recycle nutrients or help to complete nutrient cycles. They convert certain minerals or certain elements into available forms or usable forms or forms that can be picked up by our plant. So the organic matter from the biochar will influence soil structure, but it will also feed the soil microorganisms that will help complete certain nutrient cycles that make nutrients available in our soil. We also have other additives, soil additives like humic acid in products like humet. The humic acid in products like humet help to reduce what we call soil salinity. Soil salinity, some soils are saline, and locally, for example in the central, saline soils are known as takerioruño. So, and this salinity is several times as a result of accumulation of things like sodium, which is a major contributor to soil salinity. And when sodium freely adheres to clay particles, it prevents other nutrients from being available by taking away or by taking space that is supposed to be occupied by those nutrients in a way that makes them available. When the sodium adheres to clay particles, it also could react with other readily available negative charges and form accumulation of salts. For example, chloride, which is negative, adhering to sodium, forms what we call sodium chloride, which also is known as common salt or table salt. So that salinity prevents some nutrients from being available, but apart from that, it also interferes with the soil structure, which is our soil physics, because clay particles that have accumulated on their surfaces sodium ions, the sodium ions being positively charged, prevent or repel each other, and so when it rains, these particles quickly move away from each other, and that enhances our soil erosion. So soils that are saline or sodic are more, at risk of, soil erosion, cracking, and creating certain plates along, and it makes it very difficult for some crops to do well. So when we use the biochars and the humic acid, we talked about sick bamboo biochar and humet, it will help to build a good soil structure that is able to hold water, to contain the necessary air spaces that help, again, the certain microorganisms to live and thrive in the soil, but also for our roots to breathe, therefore our soil holding water for our crops to use. It will help improve our soil biology because the microorganisms feed on organic matter and then thrive and help us to recycle or contribute to our nutrient cycles, making nutrients more available. And then when it comes to our soil chemistry, these products, the biochars and the humic acids, help to ensure we have a regulated soil pH. We have a soil that has enhanced soil cation exchange capacity. We have soil nutrients that are more available for our crops to take. It's very possible to have nutrients in the soil, but in a form that crops cannot take them. Nutrients in the soil, but the crop cannot take them because the soil is not in a good condition to be able to take up those nutrients. So it's extremely important to ensure that those additions are made to improve our soil biology, our soil physics, and our soil chemistry.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Would love to hear your thoughts. So join the conversation by sharing your comments on your social media platforms. Got a farmer in mind? Well, recommend them to us. Don't forget to participate in our poll questions. Let's get talking. #NTV Seeds of Gold. Catch us again next week for another inspiring story from the heart of farming. Want to catch this show on the go? Well, simply download the Your TV app and we'll be live, turning on your world. See you next week.